Microtransactions. We have talked about this business practice extensively on this channel. At best, they're an optional feature that allows developers to make some extra money on the side while offering non-intrusive, optional cosmetic content. At worst, they are the bane of the gaming industry, bogging down to gambling with loot boxes or artificially downgrading a game to scam players, or a little bit of both. A prime example of the latter is NBA 2K18, the latest scam in the world of gaming. So the way it works in this game is that it revolves around an in-game currency called VC, which stands for virtual currency. Since the currency's introduction in NBA 2K13, with every passing year and every new entry, VC has slowly devolved into an abominable nuisance that is now causing real harm to the player experience. VC is especially prevalent in the single-player campaign mode known as My Career, which allows you to create, customize, and upgrade your own character in a variety of ways. Now, the game does start you off with 6,000 VC from the get-go, which may seem generous at a glance, but upgrades in this game can become quite expensive, meaning you'll burn through those 6,000 VC quite quickly. To earn more VC, you can either purchase them with real money through these ridiculous tiered packages, or you can earn them in-game. Now you may be thinking to yourself, well, if you can earn VC in-game, then microtransactions must be completely optional, so what's the problem? Well, let's start with the fact that in NBA 2K18, it takes an exorbitant amount of time to level up your character, an endeavor that also requires VC. When you start My Career, your custom character begins with a player rating of 60, and your goal is to get that number to 99. But doing so is a painstaking process in 2K18. According to an article by website Kotaku, that initial 6,000 VC they got was only enough to upgrade their character from a player rating of 60 to 62. From there, they had no choice but to grind their way to higher levels, which would be fine if it wasn't for the fact that on average, one game would only net them around 500 VC. They also realized that in order to level up from 62 to 63, they would need to pay around 4,000 VC worth of upgrades. We are talking about 8 full games just to level up once, and from the looks of it, the higher level you go, the higher the cost of these upgrades will be. One Reddit user also compiled various complaints that provided some extensive and enlightening calculations, noting that just to get to a player rating of 86, it would take around 240 games if you got all A+ ratings, around 300 games if you got all B ratings, and around 360 games if you got all C ratings. And taking into account how long each game can take, all that time does eventually add up to something very substantial. It's pretty fucking ridiculous. Things go from bad to worse once we start looking at how the game handles cosmetics like hairstyles, tattoos, clothes, and other accessories, all of which cost VC. One way they're luring players into rapidly spending their currency is by preventing players from being able to preview their hairstyles before they purchase them. It's like if you went shopping for clothes, but they didn't allow you to get a good look at them, or to try them on before you buy them, or to get a refund if you're not satisfied with the purchase. So buying a hairstyle in 2K18 is always a bit of a leap of faith. If it turns out you don't like the one that you chose, too bad, that's your haircut now until you buy another one. Oh, and did I mention that you can't revert back to any previously purchased hairstyles unless you buy them again? That's right, instead of permanently unlocking your hairstyles, they are treated like one-time use consumable items, similarly to how shaders work in Destiny 2. And since you cannot preview these hairstyles, you have to just kinda buy one and see if you like it. If you don't, you have to spend more VC to buy something else. It's ridiculous. That's how they get you. That's how they have people spend more VC so they can buy more VC with real money. To add insult to injury, some of these hairstyles cost an outrageous amount of VC, like this one right here, which costs 1,500 VC. Think about that for a moment. Assuming you net an average of 500 VC per match, you'd have to play 3 full games to afford a single, one-time use haircut, which you cannot preview to know if you'll like them in the first place. It's also worth noting that much of the game's cosmetics need to be unlocked first by reaching a certain player rating. The good tattoos and animations, for example, start unlocking once you reach a player rating of 70. So even if you have a ton of VC, you need to spend them on upgrading your character first before you can even start buying the cosmetics you want. You can either resort to grinding hours upon hours in-game until you earn enough VC to increase your player rating to an appropriate level before you spend even more on overpriced cosmetics, or you can purchase VC in bulk with real money and ease that painstaking process. See how sneaky these bastards are? Finally, for the cherry on top, players have reported that 2K18 has artificially reduced the amount of VC earned on numerous fronts compared to past games. I've seen people talking about how this game no longer grants bonus for higher difficulty modifiers like previous entries used to, how the 2K18 app gives you way less VC than apps of previous entries, and overall, the general consensus is that everything costs more, everything pays less, and aspects of gameplay and progression are artificially grindy and unintuitive for the sake of frustrating and luring players into purchasing bulks of virtual currency with real money. Furthermore, players were disappointed to find that everything you earned and purchased throughout the My Career mode, like clothes, shoes, hairstyles, animations, etc., are no longer tied to your account, but rather to your individual characters. What this means is that if you create a second My Career character, you'll have to grind all over again to not only painstakingly increase the character's player rating from 60 to 99, but also to re-earn cosmetics again. And that further encourages players to spend more VC and to purchase them with real money. So yeah, it is universally agreed upon that the intentions with this game are clear. Artificially slower progress, artificially less rewards, artificially expensive in-game items, and artificially unintuitive gameplay features meant to frustrate and lure impatient players and leech profit. Welcome to modern day gaming, folks. This is what happens when we let companies like these get too comfortable. This is the result of people excusing and in turn supporting shady microtransactions practices by arguing that it's not a big deal because they're optional anyway. Well, doesn't feel all that optional in this game now, does it? After all, the game was purposely built to be a chore without it. I don't know about you, but I can tangibly feel gaming giants pushing their luck with every passing year, day by day, month by month, and inch by inch. Some people may not notice this immediately because they've been pushing that line a little bit more every year, but if you look at where we were and where we are now, the amount of distance that these corporations have moved that line is pretty substantial. It's clearly visible with how Bungie changed shaders from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, and it's even clearer now with how 2K Games tweaked virtual currency from 2K17 to 2K18. For those who still believe this stuff is excusable, let me ask you, how much further do they have to push before you realize what's happening right in front of our eyes? How much artificially downgraded do these games need to get as they're further and further integrated into and built around shady microtransactions incentives before you say enough? The solution to this problem is actually quite simple. All you have to do is nothing. It's as simple as not spending any money on microtransactions infested games and in turn not endorsing this kind of shit. Well, I use the word simple, but doing this on a grand scale is a little more complicated than that. The fact of the matter is that there will always be people who don't care about these issues. Some people just have money to burn and will happily spend the extra cash for micro content or micro benefits. So I don't know what I can do about it other than to not indulge in these practices and to talk about it and spread the word as far and wide as I can. And the sad part about all this is that from what I've heard, NBA 2K18 is a very mechanically sound game. It apparently plays and controls well, it's apparently a lot of fun, but there's all this bullshit surrounding the experience that ruins it. Especially where the My Career main campaign, the game's highlight feature, is concerned. And that's pretty much what greedily implemented microtransactions do, ruin an otherwise perfectly enjoyable experience. They take what used to be and what should be basic gameplay functionalities and just put paywalls around them for shameless exploitation. So yeah, I hope with this insight into why people are pissed at NBA 2K18 gives you more reason to despise the rampant abuse of microtransactions. With that, I would like to end this news update and discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy my content, consider supporting me on Patreon to get a chance to chat with me on Discord, to immortalize your name in my videos, play games with me, and much more. All contributions will go towards allowing us to remain 100% independent. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out!